Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guest today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. Today's episode, we're talking PR and PR growth hacks. That's always fun. It's an area of passion for mine. Not that I know anything about it. I just think it's really cool. So I'm excited to dive in with our very special guest, Lauren Quidar-Cockrell. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Absolutely, Brandon. I'm pumped to be here with you, and let's get into it.
I'm excited. I think I even pronounced your name correctly, which
you did. I was like, do I say anything?
We're off to a great start already.
Yes, we can stop now. It's great.
I love it. So I want to start with some context because PR, I think everyone's heard of PR. Maybe we don't all know exactly what it is, but can you help us understand for this conversation, the difference of PR and general marketing, where they both fit and play together, and then how you view PR?
Absolutely. Yep. So they definitely work very well together, and they should work well together. I don't like to see people silo them and not communicate. We absolutely want marketing and PR to work well together. Marketing is a function of sales. So you're selling services, you're selling widgets, products, and all that. And PR is often a function of management and leadership. Sometimes some of the work that we're doing isn't necessarily 1-to-1 ratio of, okay, the release went out, now we're selling shoes, or this product launch is happening. Oftentimes we're telling a story and helping a leader cast a vision with executive announcements and change management and things of that nature. But we definitely want any story that we're telling your internal or external audience to dovetail nicely with whatever's happening on the marketing side. So if you've got something running on your social campaigns, you want to make sure that you're including any PR announcements in that. And then vice versa, we want to make sure that we're aware of, okay, this is happening on the sales front, and these are the marketing pushes that are happening. How do we time announcements and making sure that everybody's talking to each other so that any customers or stakeholders are experiencing a nice, consistent, and cohesive message across all channels, and so that your brand is seen as trustworthy and that people can engage with you.
Yeah, I like that because I don't think I've ever heard anybody put it that way, where it's both internal and external communication. I mean, even just communicating to your team members. Hey, we're having a sale on X this week. How many times have you gone to like a store and you go pick something off the shelf because it's on sale, and then you get to the register, it's like, that's not on sale. What are you talking about?
Right. Yes. Yes. When we do, especially with our brick and mortar clients, if we're pushing something out, whether it's an email or a news announcement, like, please cascade this down to everyone on the team so that, because we have had people go, oh, shoot, was that today? Like, yes, well, now they're not a customer anymore. Good job.
Yeah. Awesome. Great way to lose customers. No, I like this. I like this topic and the way you differentiated it, because I think that's very, very important to understand, again, the context of this conversation.
Right.
So when you say PR growth hacks, I don't think you mean shortcuts. At least I hope you don't. What do you mean by PR growth hacks?
Yeah, alas, there aren't many shortcuts. Now, things get easier as you build your reps, certainly. But as you think about who you are serving and the message that you want to convey, I would say, being really crystal clear about that. And then, backing up even further, a growth hack would be combining your PR and marketing efforts. Actually, some of the most powerful media coverage that we've gotten for clients is when we've worked really closely with internal marketing departments. For instance, we had this, it was kind of a software services company, and the marketing team had gorgeous product B-roll because they're selling it to the client. Well, we used that in our pitching efforts, and it ended up looking like an ad for the client on our local NBC affiliate, just because that's what they're using as their footage. The reporter didn't have to go anywhere. So just having that dialogue about, okay, what do you have over on your side? Or if you're the whole department, I understand that too. But just having everything work really well together. There are for instance, we always, whenever we go to market with a news story, we always have a Google Drive super organized for any reporter or journalist that they can download photos, headshots, any media elements, videos, and all that. So just allowing yourself to tell the story in a multimedia fashion. News releases are still very valid today. We have reporter friends who copy and paste and drop it into the news outlet and run it with their byline, and I am good with that. So when you think about being really organized with your assets and your message, those really help you build authority, and that's what we want to do with PR, is ultimately build authority for you and your brand, and kind of shortcut trust a little bit. Trust takes a long time to build, but once you have the third-party endorsement of the media, or trusted, hopefully we still trust our media, but when you're seeing this third-party endorsement of someone writing an article about you, then people generally believe that 3 to 10 times more than if they saw the ad sitting next to it. So if you see advertising or paid media, you automatically view that somewhat cynically, like, okay, well, of course you're going to say that, it's your own brand, but if someone else is writing or speaking about you, then you generally trust that a bit better. So if you can equip the media to tell the story on your behalf even better, by, again, having a super crisp message and all the assets that go with it, that is definitely a hack when it comes to PR. Just reaching out and with a convoluted pitch or release that isn't particularly well written, the busy media aren't going to want to engage with you.
I mean, that's a great tip in and of itself. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole of do we trust the media? That's
Please don't.
A different episode, maybe even a different podcast. So we're not going to open that can of worms. But when you are reaching out to, whether it's news outlets, magazines, online newspapers, whatever it is there are there best practices? I know you said you have a Google Drive folder of all of the content that they would need. Because I think that's part of the thing that people will overlook is, well, I'm just going to reach out to them and tell them I have an awesome product or service. But what are they looking for? Do they want their lives to be easy and have everything in one place? Do they want a compelling story? I mean, what should we do here?
Well, if you think about the reporter as someone who's working for a business, which they are, then you start to better understand what it is they're looking for. They want to have an easier job. They want to do well in their job and grow and move forward. And they do that by having articles and stories that are shared and engaged with and sent around and have lots of clicks. So when we are pitching to anyone in the media, we're thinking about how can we make their lives easier and better so that they can do their job well and have a story that is of interest to their readers, viewers, listeners. Of course, media today, it's all of the above. So be thinking about all the different media that we can provide to them so they can have a rich story. But and then if you are successful, I just want to jump ahead a little bit. If you are successful in garnering media coverage, that is not where it ends. You now need to go back to your channels and share that you were in this story so that there's that coverage is amplified even further so that they do get those clicks. I've had reporters tell me before that they will stop answering companies or PR folks emails if they don't share the end result, because they really do need that story to see the light of day beyond their own readership.
That's interesting because I'm trying to think how does this benefit all parties, right? So the media outlet picks it up because they want an interesting story to put to their audience. how then, because we're talking about ourselves and our product as the business, right? How
Mhm.
then do we reshare it with our own audience as a benefit for them? Because we're assuming they already know us, right? So how does this, I'm just seeing this like infinity
Yeah,
loop.
it is an infinity loop. Yeah, so when our clients receive media coverage, if we're handling their social, for instance, we would say, thanks to XYZ publication for this great story featuring our CEO, so and so. Check it out here. And your audience following your company, yes, they know you, but they get really pumped to see you in the news for something great. And we see this all the time, particularly for our clients who and I have noticed kind of the more PR, the more media you get, the more you're going to get. Like you end up being a trusted entity for outlets, and then you become a subject matter expert for them. So that next time they're working on a story and like, oh, I think Brandon can speak to this. Let me call him and see if he can chime in here. But anyway, so and then when we share that with our audience, they're like, oh yeah, I knew they were a great business. I really love Brandon. I'm so proud of him. That's so cool. And then they're engaging. You're checking it out because you're curious. Like, oh, okay, what's he said here? Or maybe it's even like a spiteful click. Who cares? But they're clicking it and checking it out. And so the entity, the reporter is getting what they need by new followers to the outlet checking something out, and then you, the business, you're kind of it's a self-fulfilling prophecy then.
Okay. I see that. I could see how that works. Where should we start though? Whether
Mhm,
we're PR experts and it's part of our marketing strategy or we've never done it before, what are
mhm.
the current maybe best forms of media to maybe get our brand in front of our ideal customers? And I understand ideal customer is going to vary by business, but
Mhm.
are there platforms or mediums or types of PR that we should be focused on?
Well, there's certainly a lid for every pot, and what we always do with every client at the outset is, what are you looking to accomplish here? Why do you want to engage with media? What are you hoping will be true a year from now if this is successful, or 6 months from now? And then who are you really trying to reach? Well, if you're in sports realm, maybe you reach out to business media, maybe you don't. But if you're reaching out to business media, then you need to be focused on the business of your business versus, okay, you can do something with the NFL or whatever. So, making sure that you're crystal clear on what you want to have happen, who you're ultimately trying to reach. The media is a conduit for that. So whose readers or viewers or listeners are you trying to capture? And then from there, you can start to figure out, okay, that's going to be a business podcast push. We're going to be searching for different types of podcasts that are speaking to fellow entrepreneurs. And so that's going to be our focus. Here's the crystal clear offer. Here's what we're talking to. Here's what we want to have happen once you're on the show. So knowing before you start how you want the whole thing to play out, so that you have a crisp offer, and then what are you going to do with it? And then it makes it easier to measure whether you've been successful or not too. So um, you know any again, if you're doing business podcasts, for instance, any old podcast doesn't necessarily serve your goals. So I mean, yeah, I could get you on XYZ podcast because I take everybody, but is that speaking to your audience? Is it really moving the needle forward? Things like that. We want to know where we're going, why we're going there, and what success looks like.
And look at you coming on this show anyway. I'm kidding. If everyone listening does not have PR, some form of PR in their strategy, I think you're missing the boat. Um,
Mhm.
so Lauren is a very valuable guest to have here, and thank you, of course, for being here. But I'm curious about the. Well, I want to talk about that for a second because I just something popped in my head. I had a friend of mine who, at the beginning of last year, we had a conversation. This podcast was brand new at this point, and she told me, I want to be on 200 podcasts this year. And I was like, that seems cool and crazy all at the same time. What's
Mhm,
what's your
mhm.
goal? She's like, I don't know. I just want to be on 200 podcasts. I was like, why would you
Mm.
waste all of that time if you don't
Yeah.
have at least an objective you're trying to reach? And
Mhm,
I think that's
mhm.
exactly what you're saying is the spaghetti at the wall approach will definitely not work with PR and will most likely just waste your time.
Right, yeah, there's certainly it can be political sometimes of, "Oh, we need XYZ, it has to be this many metrics," it ends up being a vanity metric. I'm like, Okay, alright, well, if that's what you wanna do." But that's yeah, you're right, it's a waste of time. I wanna be strategic, I want your cash register to ring, I want your subject matter expertise to grow, I want you to be able to charge what you're worth, like, I want it to feed some reason for your existence other than, "I did it. Okay, great." What'd you talk about? What did it do? I guess a blind hog finds an acorn every now and again. You might hit pay dirt with one of them, but again, you had a lot of at bats while you did it. So I want to be laser focused, and sometimes clients don't necessarily know. We've had folks come to us before like, I don't know why I'm calling you, but something in my gut is telling me that it's time, and they were right. They didn't necessarily know why they were right, but we figured it out together. By starting with a strategy and be like, okay, well, let's look at everything that's happening. Let's take a look at all the channels that you could be a part of. Let's look internally and externally. One of the most fortuitous times that happened was December 2019 for a large manufacturing client that came on board, and yeah, they were really glad that we were in their back pocket March 2020.
Why
And
is that? Did anything weird happen?
yeah. Interestingly, I wanted to harken back to this, but you're like, oh yeah, internal communications. 2020, almost all of our clients were internal communications
Mm,
clients,
yeah.
and helping to convey fast moving information in a clear, empathetic manner was just big time game changer for clients. And that has not changed necessarily. But we get to talk about some more fun things these days.
Yeah, that's unfortunately probably an area of growing demand. Well, I wish
Yeah.
it wouldn't
Mhm.
be, but internal communications are tricky these days, to say the least.
They can be, but again, it's, what do you want to have happen? Who are we talking to? What does success
Mhm.
look like? And being human, a human first approach, it will rarely steer you wrong, and that's for everything. We When we forget that our members of the media are human, and that their audiences are as well, then you're not going to be successful. But when you're really thinking about, oh gosh, this person is wearing a lot of hats, as we all are, but stepping into their shoes, and like you astutely asked, like what matters for them, what are they looking for, and going through and reading, what are they talking about and reading about, just doing a little bit of research into what stories they're telling, and how you can fit into that, and just a lot of times when we're starting out with clients, sometimes we're just hugely successful right out of the gate, which is fun. But other times we are building a relationship on their behalf, and that takes some time, but we have to step into our authority and empathy and humanity, and let them know that we see them and that we're here for a mutually successful relationship, and it's not going to be one and done. Like, we're here to make their jobs as easy as possible. We're going to give them great stories, great content, and they're just going to hit a home run when they work with us.
I love it. It's such a good mindset. And obviously, I agree. The word human is lit up on my wall behind me. So
Sure
I love
is.
the human first approach and building relationships. I think that's crucial, both with the media outlet and with
Mhm,
the readers or consumers of that content. I
mhm.
just like how you go about it, Lauren. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
If the listener wants to dive into PR and wants to learn more about you and your strategy, maybe even working with you, where can they go to
Mhm.
reach out?
Yeah, check us out at kwedarco.com. That's KWEDARCO.com if you're listening. And then on there, we've got a freebie section with some free downloads that can kind of, whet your appetite. You can always reach out for a free consultation in the upper right-hand corner. Got a pretty good blog, lots of social content. So yeah, check us out. And then I have a podcast as well if you'd like just talking about entrepreneurs. It's called The Impatient Entrepreneur.
I love it. The impatient entrepreneur. That's an oxymoron. There's none of those, right?
Right. If you say you're not impatient, please tell me why you're lying.
You're a liar. That's all there's to it. This was awesome. All those links are down below in the show notes. kwedarco.com is on the screen if you're watching, but wherever you're listening, they're down there. Lauren, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
This was a lot of fun. For those of you listening, I hope to see you back on tomorrow's episode of Harmonious at Lunch. We want to help you build a more harmonious business and life. We'll see you there.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.